So, welcome to No Ideas Original Podcast featuring Shannon, Mr. Rob, and Zane. Tonight, we are fortunate and blessed to be joined by Elder Sensei from the Artifacts, Jersey Zone. Yo, so I want to start off by saying, I was yo, it's when you guys first came out, I was one of them kids I was in high school. I was a dude who loved graffiti. I was a dude who was into fashion. I was a dude that was into rap. And I remember the Artifacts in particular because I was that dude who stayed up late on Thursdays to listen to Stretch Armstrong and Barbito. Right, and I think the first time I heard you guys, Wrong Side of the Tracks was on Stretch Armstrong and Barbito, and I was blown away. And I was like, holy shit, like, yo, these are dudes who got the whole culture down packed. They rapping, DJing, graffiti, all in one. So, yo, tell us, how did the Artifacts actually come together?
Artifacts came together. We actually had the same friends in the hood. My man Polo Weiss, he knew Tame growing up with him, and my man Jay Byrne I went to school with. And Byrne was like a prevalent graffiti artist in the neighborhood in East Orange. Me and Byrne went to school with Naughty by Nature. He was in the same grade as them. They was a grade ahead of me. So like I was doing talent shows in my area. Tame lived across town. I only knew Tame of him just from his name being on the wall and seeing his pieces, but I never knew that he was an MC until I got with a crew that Byrne put me down with, my man Rhino CMZ. We had like a group called the Boss Mob, so it was like me, Tame, Mellow Max, Rasta Ra, a few cats that we was affiliated with, and I would go over there to record, but I would see Tame's name on the wall. I said, wow. I said, yo, he be here? They said, yeah, and he rhymed. I said, damn. So I was like, if he rhymed just as good as his tag and his pieces look, then I know he's special. And one day I went over there and he happened to come by, and we chopped it up that day. But the next time we came back to the studio, we recorded a song called "Break It Down," and we actually put a title song on the That's Them album called "Break It Down." That's Them. I'll get to that later, but yeah, that's kind of how we met. We started doing talent shows in the hood. And we just really was kind of like one of the last groups, so I'd say, the Outsiders, to get signed when you talk about like major groups like Redman and Naughty and Lords of the Underground. You know, we came late, and the way we got our deal was through going on Stretch and Barbito, like you said, you know, just being listeners as you were. And we got a chance to go up there. Tame had called up on the phone and won I won't say a battle, but he won a contest for the illest rhyme of that night, and they invited him to come up. So that's me and him went together.
Look at that!
Wow, that's dope, son. But yo, this is significant, man. Tell us the story of how you got the name Elder Sensei.
Okay, that came from I cut hair. It just so happened when cats on Saturday afternoon, I would go down to the barbershop and it'd be crowded. So I come down there, I cut my own hair. So I go down there, dudes like, damn, who cut your hair? I said, me. Like, where? I said, in my crib. So I said, y'all come up the street. You know, I get a haircut too, like $6. So I'm taking money out of the barbershop.
I know you're undercutting.
That was a hustle. That was a hustle right there, son.
And I used to, and it's only on Saturday. I would play all the kung fu movies in my room when I'm cutting dude's hair, or some anime movie or something like that. So it was a part in this one movie that this dude just kept saying Sensei, Sensei, and my man was like, yo, you know what? That's what we gonna call you, because when you cutting hair and you could, they like the hairline and you get this shit real sharp, bro. It's like a Sensei blade. Like that's matter of fact, that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be the Sensei blade, but I just put the L in front of it.
Nice. That's dope. Yo, and didn't you battle Tretch?
We almost did in school. I did a talent show, and then the next day, he was like, "Yo, I didn't know you rhymed." So he's like, "You know we're gonna have to battle, right?" So it was one guy sitting there at the table. We was going in the lunchroom, so you had to get this dude the pass to go in the lunchroom. So he's sitting there watching, like, "Well, won't y'all battle right now?" I was like, "We can't, because ain't nobody around to even judge it or say who's gonna win." So, but they were called New Style at the time in school.
Right.
So then they left high school and they went and started making records under New Style, and then they stopped making records, and then that's when they became Naughty by Nature. So like you know, me and Tretch got a long history, but as far as for me, historically, he's one of the dudes that name rang bells in the street.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, you know, like when I'm talking about dudes just being ill, you know, he was that guy.
Sensei.
Tell me. Go ahead, Rob. You got another question?
Nah, you good.
Okay. Hey, tell me about the group name. That's them. That was the name that you guys chose before the artifacts.
Yeah, and that came from us. Some of the shows, talent shows in the hood, especially this one we had called Tough Teen Talent Night, and this would be like every weekend or say like holiday, whether it's Easter, Christmas, Halloween. On the weekend they would have this show fall on the holidays, and it'd be like local artists, local MCs battling for prize money. So it got to a point where me and Tame, we showed up at a couple of auditions, and pretty much I knew the dude that was throwing these shows, so he would let us come in, you know. But he said, "Oh, y'all got to audition. I know y'all gonna be good, but y'all still got to audition." So when me and Tane would show up, it'd be like 10, 12 groups, and we come in the door. They like, "Oh, damn, that's them dudes right there." They knew that, and I'm serious. That's how we got our name from people who's calling us that. Like, that's them right there. Them dudes right there about to kill it. So we kept hearing that, and we was like, you know what? That's gonna be the name. So that kind of stuff. But when we got to the label, and we got past the preliminary stuff as far as them introducing ourselves as MCs, and then when we had a meeting, they said, "What's the name of your group?" We was like, "That's them." They was like, you know, the emoji, when the emoji was like, they was like, it was like, oh no, yeah, I gotta work on that. So we left, but this is how we became Artifacts though. Like we left the label. We was on the train going back to Jersey from New York. Me and James, and we defeated because we was like, "Damn, that's been our name for a couple of years." So I'm looking at him, he looking at me, and by the time we was about to get off the train, I just looked at him. I was like, "Artifact." I don't know why I said that. It just came out, and we was like, we both. Now we doing the extra emoji now with the magnifying glass. We like, we like, hold up. We got home.
We got something.
Of course, we know what the word means. We know what the word means, but we had to see it in writing. So we like, okay, we looking at all the encyclopedias. We looking into just everything, dictionary, just to get the wording right. So we said, okay, anything from ancient times being brought to modern times to be taught in lessons and blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, that's what we do with this. We still do graffiti, we still b-boys. You know, it was a transition with, from the 80s, still going into the 90s when you used to talk about dancing, and as far as being a b-boy, you see a transition from floor work to dancing dudes like in videos. So we was in this time period. So we just trying to figure out, like, how can we translate this in a way where people can affiliate it with the music we do? And, we blame Lord Jamar. We recorded wrong side of the track in Lord Jamar's basement. So the way y'all hear the words we wrote, everything, the hook, Jamar wrote the hook. We recorded it in Sadat X's basement. That's the demo version. Y'all can hear that on YouTube right now, or you can go to F5 Records. But go on YouTube and put in Artifacts demo version Lord Jamar, and you'll hear that song. Only reason why we didn't have that version on the album because it was a James Brown sample, and if not for that, you wouldn't hear the version that you hear today. But we had to make a version with T-Ray because they wouldn't play that James Brown sample. Jamar was on the road doing Brand Nubian stuff, so he couldn't redo the hook again. But it's crazy the way I hear this song today.
Yeah,
is the classic that it is. Even though it has another side of the story. So shout out to Lord Jamal, man. He's like, people don't give him
appreciated in general. Yeah, he's underappreciated in general. Man, the term backpack rapper, once upon a time people use as an insult, but to me, I always thought of it more as a compliment, because to me it was the people who were purists when it came to hip hop. It was people who really appreciated sampling, good drums, good lyrics. The full craft, all of the art. So I mean, I guess my question to you is like, do you guys consider, the artifacts, you consider you ought to be backpack rappers? And also, what do you think of the term backpack rappers? Is it an insult to you?
I'm glad you asked me this. Over the years, the word has transcended from, honestly, for me, personally, I would like to be considered from the underground, because that's what we called it when we was doing it. And it went from that to backpacker came from people who didn't understand why cats was coming in the clubs at night with backpacks on. They thinking that because of this music, like everything you just explained, they would think that was why they was wearing it, because of the style of music, or I just tell people, like, I had a backpack because I was in New York and I didn't know if I was gonna make it back home. A lot of times that's why dudes would show up in the club with a backpack on, and it was a fashion statement. So you have Tommy Hilfiger and Ralph making bags that look so dope, it's part of your wardrobe. So because you was into this style of hip hop, I think it just coincided with each other. I don't like the fact that there got to be so many different names for underground hip hop. For me, because you go from underground and went to backpack and now it's boom bap. I'm like, what the hell is this? What is this? Like, it can't have all these 2, 3, 4 different terms, and it's still musically what you explain and how the music that you listen to, this is what I do. So it's like, I tell people all the time, I consider myself an underground artist rather than, because it don't sound so dope when you say I'm a backpack artist or I'm a
that sounds dope. It sounds dope to be like, yo, I'm a backpack. Some of the best rappers are backpack rappers. But at
the same time, I think is a misconception or a stereotype when you talk about people that if you say to the dude that go to the club for ass and titties and drinks, and you say backpack music to him, he's gonna say the typical people that he know right off the top of his head. Quali, Mos Def, Common. But it's so much. But it goes so much more deeper than that, because people only present it with what's in front of them. They don't know that, yes, Big Daddy Kane is an underground hip hop artist. Coogee Rap is an underground hip hop artist. All these people that were so lyrical that they won't consider that today. But when you look at, say, like Lupe Fiasco, or you look at like a Royce, these dudes are still underground artists, underground hip hop artists, or even say spitters. To me, where it's like, when you say, you can't lump all of these artists into one thing to say that they're a style, because as hip hop goes, we have different styles of hip hop. You got conscious hip hop, you got thugged out hip hop, you got trap hip hop, you got all these different things. But at the end of the day, what it really is when you start talking about Dilla, like, I'm perfect example. Tell me if you feel like this. I hate the fact that I look at these people talking about some lo-fi beats. I'm like, what the? Can I curse?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that, yo? I see these posts, chill hop and all this shit like that. Yo, get the fuck out of here with that shit. You know what? Because it's like, so are you saying that, what is lo-fi beats? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the drum, the bass line. So they basically, just say it's a Dilla style of beat, or say even a Tribe style of beat, because there's no such thing as that. Lo-fi. This is what I mean by they put terms on shit to say, all right, in this era, we're going to call it boom bap. But really, it comes from this era when hip hop really started in the 90s and 80s, where we called it underground hip hop. Now we're in 2021. We're going to call it boom bap.
You might,
because these other people that grew up with hip hop all these years didn't consider it that. We just called it what it is. You know what I'm saying? It was either commercial or it was underground. So now it's a thing.
All the people that you named in that category, you know what they all got in common? All of them is dope as shit.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what I say. Let's keep it in perspective of to say, like, there's a difference in all of the artists that we see, but there's also different categories for everybody. You know what I mean? And far as in the lane that you want to be.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, one of the greatest accomplishments I think that the artifacts came across is when y'all work with Bucwild with coming with the Git Down. Talk about that, and talk about the story of you and Busta when y'all was on your way to DC.
Yeah. Like when we first got the deal, they asked us who we wanted to work with, and of course we like, Pete Rock, Large Pro, Primo, they're like, y'all ain't got no money for that. Y'all got no bread for that. So we got like people like T-Ray. You know him. He worked with CS. Yeah, I know Double X Posse. But he was just starting to work with them. Video wasn't out yet. You know, Headcracker was out. That was the only thing he had out there. But I knew of him through Cypress Hill. So I said, well, who the dude that did the joint with Diamond and Finesse? And my man Reef, Rob Tulo, was the A&R. He said, oh, you talking about Bucwild? I said, yeah, let's get him. He said, matter of fact, I'll set up a meeting. We go to the studio and meet him. So we go there, we meet him. Rock Raider is in the room. We meet him at the same time. And, you know, I just was like, nigga, that beat was fire. Like, we need something like that. And he sat right in our face and he started going through a couple of beats and he made Come On to Get Down right there, like in our grill. He was, all right, that's one beat. So fast forward, we do a radio retail run for Warner Atlantic Electric. So we in DC, we on a bus going to Baltimore to Morgan State College to perform. On this bus, Jay-Z, leaders of the new school, TCF crew, KMD, Hard to Obtain. This is all on one bus. We going to Baltimore, and we had the radio. I'm trying to say this fast. We had the radio, and we only had maybe like 6 songs done for the album. And Busta, he heard us playing the radio in the back. He said, "Yo, bring the radio up in the front." So we passing by everybody, and you know, Original Flavor and Jay and Dane is on the bus. So we sit there. Busta, he snatched the radio out of my hand, and mind you, this is a tape. There's no CD and shit. So he's rewinding what we were playing. He don't know what's on it. He's playing it back. Yo, what's your name? He's the Artifact. Oh, I heard of y'all. You're stretching Babito, right? So yeah, that's how I got your deal. Like, yeah. So we bugging because everybody's in this, all around each other.
Yeah.
So he's playing the song. And he gets to Come On to Get Down, and something happened to him where he was just like, hold up. He got like past my first verse. He rewinded it, and you know now back then everybody looking at each other. Everybody looking at each other, and this nigga looking at us. And he's like, let's play again. You listening? Got through 10 verse. Well, to the beginning again. So he's looking around, and he played the whole song. And he pressed that button when it was over. He's like, bang, yo, listen. If y'all ever do a remix for this song, I want to be on it. Yo, the whole bus like froze. So this is like when, you know, this is when they about to break up. This is leaders. So this is all after the MTV shit, everything. So Busta said that, and everybody was just froze. And I was like, oh, I bet. So I kept that in mind. We put the album out. Now we do this second single. I called him. I said, yo, remember when you said if we do a remix, do that still stand? And I knew it was gonna take some bread to do it too. So we got it knocked out, man. That was one of the best sessions ever because like Busta was really like looking at me and saying like, yo, what y'all write? Yo, he would come in, what you got? Let me see what you got in your book. What you got, Team? What you got, Team? Let me see. So then we say our verses. He's like, yo, El, come in the booth with me. Come in the booth. He come in, I go in the booth, and I'm in the booth, but he's to deliver flows hot, but he's saying hot. He's pushing it in the room. So I was like, you know, that was one of the best stories I can tell. Where it's like, you know, that was early in Busta's, you know, about to be solo career.
Right. Can I just digress for a minute because you mentioned something that we was talking about this. I think it may have been last week, and we were talking about that's the .X, the Diamond D, and that little Finesse song, and how fucking great that song is. And we were just talking. I was like, yo, that beat. When I heard that beat, yo, that track right there, yo, that to me is like the first thing that stamped Bucwild is like Bucwild got some shit.
And him using that SP12, you know what I'm saying, them drum chops, was crazy.
Yeah,
so that's what attracted me to him was the snares and all the double ups he was doing.
Yeah, Buck is that dude when it comes to producing, man, and he's in the right camp too, man.
Right. I mean, and for what it's worth, me and Tame pretty much have almost worked with every DRTC producer besides officially Diamond because we was going to be on the Dime Piece, the first album, but he couldn't clear the sample. So he's still the only elusive one that we ain't worked with yet, but we pretty much worked with the whole DRTC.
Yeah,
nice.
Now,
before you say anything, before we get off, is to stay on the Bucwild thing. I'm gonna let y'all know now before I get off. We got a whole album with Bucwild coming out. 10 joints.
Nice.
10,
Yeah.
10.
Can you give us a date?
Actually, I'm waiting for the release date now. Is at the shipping at the pressing plant. We doing color vinyl, so it's taking a little longer than I thought. But
Yo, bro, I'm gonna blow your DMs up until I get that, son.
Yeah.
I ain't even playing, son. Bucwild, and oh my god.
Yeah, 10 songs, and we got only a couple of guests on there, but y'all gonna like this 10 songs of goodness, bro.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. Buck put out a compilation not too long ago of pure fucking fire, and I just listened to the instrumental. That's I'm just like, yeah, this is amazing, son.
People forget Bucwild body work, man.
Yeah, Buck got a lot of stuff.
Whoa, that alone just.
Buck did I Got a Story to Tell.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Biggie Jank. Yep. One of the illest stories ever in hip hop, actually.
To a point
now,
you wanted to know who the basketball dude was.
Right. And I also want to say, man, big shout out to my brother Ballfingers, man, that reached out to you, man. Me and him got a lot of history together. It's like a little brother to me, man. We went to high school together and all that. So big shout out to Ballfingers.
I
but
appreciate it.
Huh?
Well, I appreciate him asking me to do it because I've been, a couple of weeks I was supposed to be on. So I think.
Right. But when you think of New Jersey, man, you think of you and Tame, you think of like we said earlier, Lords of the Underground, Redman, Joe Buttons, you got Naughty by Nature, Nikki D, right?
Yep.
Would it ever be Rod Digger too, Outsiders? Would it ever be a organized Jersey reunion as far as for a tour? And if so, have that ever been like thought about before? But I guess it just didn't work out the way that you guys planned it to be.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that for a minute. Actually, you know what I'm saying? Like, I tried to do a Naughty by Nature, Redman, Artifacts, Lords of the Underground tour. But with everybody's schedules, it was crazy. Naughty was actually doing the cruise shows they were doing. So they wasn't available at the time. It's still time. It's still room and time for that. And, I would think that we would all be down for that, but it's just getting everybody together. I would say through the years, we all realized that we haven't done anything close to what New York has done when it comes to getting together, doing records together. I would say in the last 10 years, I've done a lot of music with everybody that you just named. Like me and Do It All got a couple of songs together that never came out yet, but they will be coming out soon. So I've done a couple of features for Tretch. Tretch did a feature for me on an album I did with these guys in Poland called The Returners. I was happy about that because, I told him, I said, bro, you was my inspiration as a kid growing up. And seeing him in school, seeing them, do all the stuff they did, and see them blow up with OPP, that made me and Tame get a deal because they was like in the hood. Right. We was me and Tame was the last ones around. All of them was like, yo, what's up with y'all? Right. And we was like, yeah, what is up with us? We got to make something, So these things made us better, and also I could run a couple of names off for you. Just, not even say honorable mention, like my man Lakim Shabazz. That's my mentor, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always feel like, not say Lock didn't get his just due, but when you talk about New Jersey artists, he is one of the top dudes because Lock came out before a lot of dudes. Was in Egypt shooting videos, and knowledge is power. This dude, he's
you've been influenced by the gods a lot, man. The Brand Nubians, all the stuff you did with Sadat.
So it's like, when I speak of Apache, rest in peace to him. You know what I'm saying? For Apache, he was that gangster side of Jersey that a lot of people in New York didn't think we had. Like, we right next to New York. We got our greats just in the same. But I take pride in all my Jersey artists. But I definitely put Lock up there. Chill Rob. I definitely respect the Wise Intelligent. This is a man who lost both members in his group, and he's still going. I respect him for that, and for what it's worth, Wise is, probably one of the only MCs from Jersey that, you could look at him today still looked the same.
It was just
Even more deadly on the mic.
Yeah.
You know,
he just wrote a book too, man.
He was one to have never held his song in any conversation or any music that he's done. So I respect him a lot.
Yeah.
I tell you what though, man, just a real quick comment. When I moved from the Bronx, I lived like 2 years in Sayreville, then I lived in Somerset, then I lived in New Brunswick, right? But I remember when I was living in Jersey, we used to go out, me and my crew used to go out to skate 22, man. And I remember one of my favorite damn performances that I seen back when I was a young buck was when Redman came to skate 22 and tore it down, man.
I remember that.
That was great. It was so packed in there, bro. I was like 15, 14 years old, something like that.
I remember that. I remember when we did a show in there. Video Music Box came out there. Crazy Sam was there out. I never smoked weed in 22 before, but that day it was. We was in the locker room. I mean, it was like Ralph was there, Sam was there, but Ralph was like, "Yo, that motherfucker is deep out here." I was like, "But this skate 22, we in Union, we can get in trouble right here."
Yeah.
Big shout out to Ralph and Dan, the Crazy Sam.
Yo, how important is graffiti to hip hop culture? How did you get into graffiti?
I mean, that's one of the elements. You know what I'm saying? Without that element, you know, we wouldn't even be talking right now. You know, graffiti was the second thing that I experienced in hip hop growing up as a kid. So I was a b-boy first, you know, being a gymnast and everything in school. And I gravitated toward the b-boy stuff, but then I went to the Bronx Zoo on a Saturday with my family, and because I heard about graffiti so much, and I heard it
everywhere.
Through music, right? So I get to New York, and as a kid, bro, and you get off that train. First of all, you don't see what's outside when you get off that train. You get off the train, and when I got off the train, I was, you know, my parents were walking with my two brothers. I'm standing there in front, like this, with the train, like this. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, graffiti. This is what it is. Got outside. Oh shit! It was like a war zone in the Bronx. I was like, what in the fuck is that shit? With no buildings, I mean, fiends everywhere. I was like, oh my god. We went to the zoo, came back. I'm again looking at everything in the street. It looked like Escape from New York, but I'm just like, oh my god, graffiti everywhere.
Right.
People were all strung out, fiends everywhere. I'm like, but graffiti everywhere. So I get home, and turned. I don't know why. I turned to PBS, and this night Star Wars came on.
Wow.
Same night I went to the Bronx Zoo, same day. So my father looking at me all this, he's like, "You think you're gonna be writing on walls and shit like that?" Like, that's the only thing that kept me off the street was my father. So he said, "Your ass think you're gonna be out there writing on some damn walls? I will bust your ass. You ain't gonna be on none of that shit. You see that paper right there? That shirt? I get you an airbrush and all that shit like that, but you ain't gonna be outside." So that part he kept me from, but that shit gravitated because I'm an artist. I draw. So I draw anime. I draw, you know, whatever. So that got inside me. I was like, oh hell no, I need to be doing this. So I just, you know, it stuck with me. But when I met Tame, he was one of the first graffiti artists in Jersey who I knew of that was going to New York. Tame is official. You know what I'm saying? In our group, he is the graph dude in our group. I stress that a lot. I want people to know that. Like, if you know, when it comes to both of us, we both got talent in doing what we do, but in that level, Tame has done a lot more than me, and I give that up to him, and I respect him a lot. A lot of people also do.
He did the Artifact logo?
Nah, this dude named Dante. It was a clothing line called Third Rail back in the 90s. This dude was responsible for that, and he did a lot of other artwork as far as like Cypress Hill, all the album covers from the second album to Black Sunday. He did a lot of their stuff.
Wow.
Definitely.
Graffiti was a part of my life too, man.
I'll be right back. Fellas, pause yourself.
I used to draw on all sorts of things. Actually, I did some of our shirts. Yo, how is it? How do you feel about performing abroad?
I love it. You know what I'm saying? That's how we really make our money. These people, they bring us out. They know more about this music than some cats at home. That's a fact. But it's you know, a lot of people say, yo, they appreciate it more. I said, no, they love it more. Because they don't just get to go outside. They actually think when they come to New York and when they step foot in Manhattan, they're going to see rappers walking around like wildlife. They we're gonna be somewhere. I'm gonna see a rapper somewhere. I'm gonna meet one, and because there's no more Fat Beats records, so you can't just go hang out in there. You live with somebody in there. But you know, overseas, man, it's just so different because you know they more of a student of this still, and they understand what it is that they want to see on stage. The promoters, our fans, they DJs and producers, so they all get together and put their money and shit together and bring us up.
Yeah,
but that's been since '94. Since '94, we've been going out over there.
Yeah. If you see Zane's T-shirt, I did the T-shirt, yo.
Okay. Oh, true. Oh, yeah, dope.
Hey, I tell you what though, man, it must run in his family, man, because last year we interviewed. Big shout out to King Fate of Shirt Kings. That's Rob's people.
That's my cousin.
So it must run in the family, bro.
Yeah, sure.
Just messing with letters, man. Just messing with letters and just making your L's that way. Just
you also DJ, right?
Yeah. I DJ as well.
So what did you think about the transition from vinyl to Serato? How was that for you?
I mean, it's just like all the other stuff that, you know, it comes back. You know, you have DJs that still do vinyl parties because they know, you know, when it comes to the digital life, you're gonna hit a ceiling. Right. You're gonna hit a plateau. So, you know, everything. I would rather say that it made it easier for the DJ to travel around. But even when you still have the two pieces of vinyl to scratch on the Serato, you still need DJ skills to work that.
Yeah,
it's still vinyl on your hand. It's just that the music is coming from the laptop. So when you talk about dudes that have, like, before Chaos passed away, he was doing the same thing. But he made his transition into digital early. Yeah. He understood what he had to do being a DJ of just doing parties. When you go to these clubs, they have all the shit already set up where you don't have to bring your equipment there. You just bring your records. But now you don't have to bring records. And this is when you know cats had good records and their files in their playlist. So Chaos, he was into a lot of this stuff, like a lot of DJs are not.
Right.
You know, so a lot of the younger DJs, they're not gonna have the same folders and same music as an older DJ because that knowledge ain't there for them. But they would have to go to Big Unc and be like, "Yo, give me some files, tell me some records." I was in LA. When I was at a party, and a lot of the stuff throwbacky. They were playing Tevin Campbell, and this was everybody in the club.
Can we talk?
Yeah, and
for some reason that's people throwback. People think Can We Talk is a throwback.
That's the young people throwback where they all singing in the club, all the girls singing at the same time. But that's how far. That's only as far as y'all could go. You know what I'm saying? Then when they started playing the older people music, they was like, "Yeah, look at Auntie over there." I'm like, "Why she got to be Auntie? Why she just can't be? You know, her jam came on." Right. This is the difference we have with these people, where the youth and the age gap, where, you know, I think if they understood where we was coming from, of what we want them to be like and how we party compared to how they party, that's the difference. You know, but I still think that even with the Seratos, you still gotta be a good DJ.
Yeah.
Talking about DJs, talk about your relationship with DJ Chaos.
Man, that was my brother. You know, me and Tame, you know, we met Chaos in '89. Him DJing for somebody else. And we was walking past him and we was like, "Damn, my man good." He was juggling Words I Manifest.
Yo, stole it?
Yeah, and this was like '89. So we never heard the DJ juggling in the park. We was like, "Who the fuck is that?" So we you know, saw him DJ. We went up to him. I got his number and I kept in contact with Chaos throughout the years. I used to let him hear all the Artifact stuff before it came out. And then once Raider got into the DMC like heavy, he was like, "Yo, L, I'm about to enter the contest. I'm about to try to win." I was like, "Word? Okay." So we was in Texas. I called Chaos. Like, "Yo, what are you doing?" He's like, "Nothing." I was like, "No, what are you doing, yo?" He's like, "Nothing." I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He said, "Who you DJing for? Who you DJing for?" He's like, "Nobody." So you the new Artifact DJ. He was like, "Word?" Like that, did he? I was like, "No, it ain't easy." So Raider gave him a appreciation piece. Yeah, Raider was like, "Nah, fuck that. I gotta see what he made of." So we let him hear the Bath Them album. So he heard all those cuts on there. And I think we got to the song "This Is the Way," and when he heard that, Raider was like, "All right, I'm convinced. Roll up something."
Tell us about how some of your best memories about, or tell me about when you guys first had the access to go across seas and how it broadened the spectrum as far as writing ability or just the overall experience of being a hip hop artist.
Well, that was dope because we got to see how everybody else in the world reacted to our music in a way where, like, you know, at home, you know, cats, we expect the cats to know. When we got overseas, we was like, okay, this is like different. But we went over there early, like 95, like 96, before everybody going now. So we saw Sweden, we saw Switzerland, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Denmark, you know, where we was like, oh my God, like these niggas know the words to the song. Like we saw all these different flavors and colors of people where we was like going back home, like telling people like, y'all don't even, we didn't even understand what it was like. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's more of a privilege over there.
You took the words I was about to say. It's a privilege because I've known a lot of dudes that haven't gotten the chance to go back.
Wow.
You can be an asshole, and you can go over there and think you're going to just get your bread, some bitching and weed. You will not go back if your show ain't good. You won't.
What's the illest place you rocked out there?
Damn. I've rocked in some weird places. We rocked in places in towns you wouldn't think hip hop even was there.
Yes, right.
Daytime we get to the hotel, big ass sheepdog blocking the door, he ain't moving. Like, it's Easter Sunday, all the old people in the town are outside. We like, well, where are the young people at? The dude at the hotel like, oh, don't worry, you'll see them. Nigga got to the club that night, it was pop, she was lit. I was like, what the little kids, these motherfuckers there, you want to smoke some weed, bro? We in Austria, we in Austria, and this shit was me, AG, rest in peace, party artist. We was up there.
80.
Yeah, 80, hell yeah. Yeah, man. So like these cats, you know, overseas, man. Yo, I'm telling y'all, everybody, man, get a fucking passport, man.
Yo, let me digress for 1 second. I grew up with AG. But AG's like an older brother than me. The first time he brought Party Artie around, this nigga was a total comedian, son.
Yeah.
And yo, he was like, yo, Rob, you can write. Come on, let's write together. Yeah, the shit was right. I can't write that shit, yo. Really? Yo, and then to see him just destroy, take nothing away from Murder Mook. He destroyed Murder Mook in that battle, 125th Street. I was amazed, and it was sad. It was sad to lose Party, man.
Yeah, I agree.
He was the next one up, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he was a good dude, man. I got to meet him when AG was on. We did a month tour with AG in 2003. Okay. And we all went on the road and Artie, like when you go on tour with niggas, it's just like when living in the house with somebody. Really, it's just us. Yeah, out on tour, we brothers together for real. You know, we flew together, we took trains together, we rode in fucking a van for like almost a month together. And I could say, like, you know, and 80 was a good guy in the sense of where like his hip hop heart was always in the right place, and he meant everything he did, every battle line, and he was, like you say, he was a funny motherfucker. That dude was funny as hell on the road. But like that's what made him dope because he didn't take that shit too serious.
Yeah. You from an era where it was heavy with groups from your Lords of the Underground, Das Effects, Tribe Called Quest, even when you started about Mob Deep, Black Moon, just to the new school, Cellar Dwellers, outside. It was just all about the groups then. Like, yo, what's some of the pros and cons about, from your perspective, pros and cons of being in a group?
Being in a group, man, it's like I have a lot of group friends like Smith and Wesson and Helter Skelter. You know, before Sean was going. You know, I think that every group has one that everybody likes. No difference if it's EPMD. A lot of people like Parrish before they liked Eric Sermon, but that don't mean that Eric Sermon didn't learn to be a better artist through that. And that's what he told me he got out of that. And it's the same with me and Tank. It's like all groups. You know what I'm saying? Like, never think that one person likes one person in the group. Or I'll say everybody does, because everybody likes what the group bring, what me and Tank bring as a group. I know that he has a different style of rhyming than I do. And we bring, I think as a group, we bring two different crowds together. Me and Tame is like night and day. We like fucking yin and yang. He's Oscar Madison, I'm Felix Unger. All that shit is really how, you know, I try to tell people, like, being in a group is like being in a real relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, you both have to do your part in order to come together to be this great one thing. So that was why we split up, because we were trying to do too much of that. We're trying to keep up with the label, trying to keep up with a personal life, trying to do all this stuff. We were just burnt out. We're like, yo, let's just sit down, and even if we got to take a break from each other, let's do that. But that's what made our group so great, was our chemistry, that the industry couldn't break that apart for so long. That's why we came back together. You know, so it's like it can be frustrating for some people when even if you're not in the group and you're doing shows and another artist getting more love than you, you got to really just suck that up and say, let me get better, because obviously it's something that person doing that they like. And when you're in the group, and when you have one that might be more outgoing than the other, it's just about that other one finding himself, you know, for the other group member. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people get to a point where they feel like, you know, it could be a lot of animosity, it could be a lot of jealousy. But if you have a partnership with your dude or whoever that you with, your DJ, you have to just make sure that you're comfortable in yourself. And this is with any artist that's making music. You have to be comfortable in your own skin to know that if somebody says something about you, and even if it's not the most appealing, yo, keep it moving, because you're not going to be the slice of bread for everybody when they're making their motherfucking sandwich. Yeah. Everybody like using different bread when they make their sandwich. Don't mean that you nasty. It's just I cater to this kind of bread. You know what I'm saying?
I like rye bread, nigga.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about it was interesting about you say that. It's funny because as you were saying, I was thinking I can't think of too many artists that started in a group, went solo and rapped, went solo and then, you know, didn't find their way back to the group. I think Busta, his solo success has went through the roof. But if you think about, like, even with Eric and Parrish, like right now, you know, probably there's more money in the EPMD business than it is in a solo Eric Sermon or solo Parrish Smith concert. Like somehow, some way, people always find their way back to the original brand.
Right, because when you talk about doing shows, it's no different than me and Tane. My man said, yo, y'all dope by yourself, but y'all great together.
Exactly.
And we both know that. You know what I'm saying? We both know what the people want. You know, if somebody call me and they want to book an Elder Sensei show, yeah, I'll do one by myself. If they want X and they want XL, we can do that too. But I know at the end of the day, Artifact is what really is the breadwinner and what we're trying to do, and nothing overpowers that at all.
That's right. For the listeners out there, right? When you guys recorded Wrong Side of the Tracks, did you guys know that? Now, I'm gonna say this, man, because a lot of artists will say, "Oh man, we never knew we'll make it this big. We never do the song." Nah, a lot of artists know that this shit is dope, and they just be like, so when it happens, they gotta be humble and be like, "Yeah, you know, we didn't know." But you guys knew. When y'all did Wrong Side of the Tracks, you guys knew that shit was gonna pop.
I'll tell you who knew. Lord Jamar knew.
Wow.
Jamar, he asked us, he's like, yo, who are y'all, like, what, like, when we first went over his crib, like, we never was trying to get in with him, like, you know, put us out, you know, groom us. We used to just go hang out with him. And I think that's what Jamar liked the most. So he made the call. He's like, all right, look, when y'all come, we're going to get started. So he's like, you know, we're going to start doing songs. It's a song we did.
I first heard that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's a song we did with them. It's on YouTube. You can probably find it called Check the Fine Print. And we did that song first. Then we did the wrong side, but Jamar asked us, like, what are y'all about? Like, tell me, like, what makes y'all tick? Like, why should I even fuck with y'all? So he was like, what we told him we about graffiti, we about b-boying, dancing, you know, all of this shit. So he's like, well, write about that, write shit about it. We just, and I'm out the bond like Vietnam under the same name, Team One. And we spit that in front of Jamar before we recorded it.
Man.
So he said, look, okay, this is who we are. And once we put them, that one song made us who we were. And Jamar, when we recorded it, I mean, like, it was a dirty demo record, so we didn't really think nothing of it at the time. We just knew we had to do it again, to do it better.
With them horns. And
yeah, like, but see, when we did the song, that song wasn't like that when we did it with Jamar. But when we got with T-Ray, we had to switch the beat. What you hear today is what when we was making it though, like we heard that horn, like you said, we was like, holy that. And then the other horn was later on down the line, so we just added that, and we knew my creation sample was used by Every Damn Body, Chubb Rock, Tice, Black Moon, Pete Rock. We still gonna use it, and because of that, we didn't know how people would feel about that part. But once the shit came out, I can say I had no idea that I'll be sitting here talking to y'all today about a song that me and Tame did on the regular as kids. And to this day, still, I go everywhere.
My playlist.
One of the many timeless pieces of art that you guys created, man. I mean, that first time I heard that song, I probably played that joint about 7 times in a row, bro. Just trying to dissect everything.
You can listen to the whole joint.
Yeah.
And even the label, we had a listening party for all of the magazines, and I remember everybody go play it again. Every time I went off, play it again, yo, play it again, play the damn thing again. So it was like 8 times, bro. And I looked at the dude at the label, and he looked at me. He came over to me. He said, "I guess we know what the single is, huh?"
He was like,
"Yeah, we live in a like."
There you go.
So that's a perfect segue to my next question. I was gonna say, what did you guys learn from album 1 to album 2 in terms of making music and the business aspect of the recording industry?
We finished the second album way faster than we did the first one.
Like, you learned about how the budgets work.
Oh hell yeah! Once they told us how much money we spent, food in the studio, like G-Ray going back to record way back, like mad times, because he wasn't sure about it. We was like, oh fuck, no. Sean J, all of the songs with Sean J. Period, we recorded 7 songs in 2 weeks.
Yeah, knock that shit out. Yeah.
So like, we were like, okay, get that shit out of here. We recorded the song with BIC like early in Fort Lee, New Jersey. We was in somebody's crib. We were like, no more big studio, fuck that. We were in the crib, your house.
That's right.
We're not playing with that shit, yo. So that one we learned to be fast. And
did the label give you a big budget though?
I mean, we had a standard budget for the first one. The second one was a little bigger, because we did a little noise, but they never bothered us with a lot of stuff we were doing. Musically, what you heard, they let us do. But like, I would say that we didn't get to do the Busta video. That kind of where I thought that they dropped the ball with that.
Yeah. You know why I say that? Because I think that some artists don't learn from album 1 to album 2, and they still like, nah, put me up I want to be up in a big studio, and they're not looking at like the invoices and stuff like that.
And the studios cost like $80 to $100 an hour, bro.
Yeah.
Dang.
Fuck that.
I can eat that.
And the crazy thing too is that this is an era where people weren't showing up to the studio with rhymes. They was going and booking studio time and sitting down.
Now, that was us. That was us, I would say. But they used to worry about that. Like, but what made us good was we learned to do songs in the studio, and that was our thing. Like, all of those songs. We talking about Ultimate, like all of them songs we did, we wrote right there. But that was because even if we was at home, we write that shit. We get to the studio, you're hearing it loud. You're hearing it in a whole different way. So that would excite me and Tame to be like, all right, right here on the spot, let's just knock this shit out. And that was those better songs that we would make because of that. We didn't feel like we were doing something wrong, but the label felt like, y'all sitting there wasting time. How we wasting time? Every time we come out of this lab, we got a song done.
Yeah.
Every time we come out of the studio. And we never wasted music and shit. Like, we didn't have enough time to sit there and make 50 songs for an album and say, all right, we got the luxury to pick this one, that one. What we make is what's time.
I think that was the standard label tagline though, because they knew people was going up there. They was bringing their crew up there. They was getting high, drinking, bringing chicks up there, spending a whole spending days in the studio and then show up with one song. So I think labels kind of got to the point where they're like, this actually is a job. You have to treat it as such.
Tell me, how'd you link up with Organized Confusion and actually rocking with Pharaoh?
my man Matt Fingers, he told me if I ever got off the label, you know, to hit him up. I said, hey, we off the label. I'm hitting you up. What's good? So he was like, you said if I had a chance to do a record by myself, you would do it. He said, yeah. So he said, well, who would that be? I said, well, I want to do one with Organized because I think something about to happen, and I want to get them on documented beat now as a group together. And he had FT and Mike Zoot as artists that he knew. So we all just got in the studio room. Even Mosh is one of my favorite MCs. So he asked me to come in the booth for him when he was doing it. I was like, oh shit. So he did his verse. I'm looking at him like, okay. He's like, yo, what you think? He's like, what I think? Are you good? Yo, that shit was fire, dude. Like, and it, you know, I didn't know telling him all that would make him feel uncomfortable like that. And Mosh was like, nah, yo, stop. Hell, you my boy. He's like, you can't tell me I'm your favorite rapper. I was like, yep, too late. Too late, son. You are. So that was a treat for me to do a song with him. Like I said, being one of my favorite artists next to Redman, next to Eddie Kane, G-Rap, KRS, Chuck D. These are my heroes, and Mosh is one of them.
So hold on, man. This next question is might be a little personal, but I want to know how you feel about this, man. You've done so much work. You work with so many people, and you're a busy guy. How do you juggle that? But then you got to come home and deal with your son and autism. How do you manage that part of your life?
Now, and that as a kid, it was harder. As him, you know, like I found out he was autistic at 2.5. So when I was going to all the albums, Relax, Relate, and Release, I have an inside the cover art and a picture with me. And at the time, he was like 5 or 6.
Right.
So it was still early in his knowing about his autism. So I had to take him everywhere with me. Every studio I went to, you know, he was still going to school too. But you know, once I got him in school, you know, I had him with me because I didn't have him in the school I wanted him to be in. That I felt that I could trust him.
Right.
And as far as Elliot, he was a little bit more advanced than some of the cats in school.
Nice.
He knew how to dress himself. He knew how to do everything by himself, belt, whatever. Some of the cats wasn't like that. So through my years of dealing with that, I learned to adapt. My family helped me out a lot. I wouldn't be able to do half of the stuff I'm doing if my family didn't help me in that regard. So none of this don't happen if my family doesn't help.
What's your son's name?
His name is Elliot as well.
Yeah. Shout out to Elliot. If you in there background listening, bro, shout out to you, bro.
Congratulations on that graduation.
My youngest son, Elliot graduated in 2016 out of his school, and my youngest son just graduated out of high school. So,
you doing your job, bro.
and trying to doing this rap shit. I tell y'all, man. Right now, I'm in the hotel. I done took them out to chill because it's hot as hell outside.
Yeah.
And took them eating, and now we here. I'm in the hallway right now. So y'all can see this, but you know, just to let them have a little time. But this is something that I never thought I would do for a living. Once I used to work in the hospital. I worked in nuclear medicine. I was an X-ray file clerk at St. Michael's Hospital in Newark. I made a decision to do music. I didn't look back. You know, for a lot of people, my boy, he always bug out. He said, "You ain't had a real job since 1994. Goddamn, but you're still surviving." And doing this music, he said, "I don't know how you doing it, but you know, my man out by Bud from people asking like, how you doing this music? Like, I don't know, but he come over here buying weed like every other day, so he must be
that's the battery right there. Battery.
My man said he must be doing something.
Tell me this, man. Out of the multitude of artists that you work with, tell me who are some of the artists that, when you guys did the recording process, did the least takes? It might have been a 1 and out, 2 and out, 3 and out.
I would say more that Tame is like that. We haven't worked with a lot of artists like that, you know what I'm saying? But like, for the most part, I would say for me watching Tame, it is hard even just coming behind this dude. If y'all gotta understand all these years, you know, that's why I understood where E-Double was coming from when he was talking about him in Paris and how Paris made him better. It was like the same for me, because coming be the same. And knowing that he'd go in there like, you know, with a whole 10 rhyme books, flap, 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 it sometimes seems effortless. Where I'm beating myself up in the studio trying to get this right, get that line this way, and this thing coming there, I'm done. So that's good to see, but also hard to follow.
That's a pro of being in a group, though. You only got to have 116 in you. Sometimes you only got to have 116 in you. Yo, the other thing, just I'm switching gears a little bit from music, is I see you heavy into fashion. Every time I see you on Instagram, either you in some low or you in your own merch. Like, how'd you get into fashion?
Well, the low thing happened because, you know, as a kid, once I started working a job, you got tired of hearing your pops and mom. So you well, look, 2 other brothers over there. You can't be wearing all that. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's get this jobby job over here. So I can start a little bit more one of what I already am. So I just gravitated toward that. The merch, I've always been making shirts, even when we was doing early artifact stuff. But when I went solo, I just made it a thing to make sure that every time I put out a single or put out a record, I had a shirt to go with it. I think it's important to have merch because it's something that you can do with your fans, and really that's what it's about. It's about the fans first. If you're not giving them something back in return for you doing your music and them purchasing the music, this is the best way to do it. You know, I got really serious with it maybe 6 years ago, where I just, you know, sometimes you play yourself out when you're not doing everything you need to be doing. That's what you do stuff that, you know, when you're on your path, you see shiny shit in the road, and you go, don't look at the shiny thing. Just keep going. And when I put my mind to it, I just like, okay, let's do some hoodies. Okay, now let's do some hats. And I just didn't look back. And salute to my man Bobby, Knockout Screen Printing. Salute to New Jersey Ink Shop in Long Branch, New Jersey. If not, salute to Vinny from Naughty. He gave me the plug for the New Jersey Ink Shop because my other dude started flaking. So I'm gonna say this too. In doing the merch, I love working with my black people, but I will say this: I support black business, but all black people ain't good at doing black business. So right now, I've been working with a Mexican brother for at least the last 4 years, and he has been on point. Me and his relationship is very good. I've been able to get him work with other artists that see that he's serious too. So I tell all my brothers out there that if y'all doing business, do the business right. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't care what color you are, I'll give you a chance. But when, you know, I don't want to go off on my people, but you got to do better, yo. Gotta do better.
We understand, bro. We understand.
Man, you was ahead of the curve. You said you was doing this 6 years ago because you see like all the rave now. What people doing is bundling merch. You're trying to get out themselves.
I tell everybody, yo, no disrespect, but yeah, Shopify is for the lazy man. You know what I'm saying? You can go to the post office yourself, and you know what I'm saying. You ain't got to pay that company $35 just for them to ship your shit out. There's a lot of things that people can do that can help themselves and save a lot of bread. But you gotta work. You gotta go to work. You gotta put that footwork in. You gotta take yourself physically in the post office. I like people. Oh, yo, why don't you get the you know, they can print the thing out in your crib. I'm like, man, like you taking work away from me, bro. Don't take my job away. Like going to the post office and let people see that it's me doing it. Before I go any further, I got 7% left. So before I get cut off, I just want to let y'all know I got 7% left. Okay. But you know, this merch thing is a serious thing, and like you said, everybody doing it. Everybody think they so popular, but that don't mean that because you think you popular, everybody gonna want to buy a shirt from you.
Right.
You gotta really give people something, a real reason to purchase your things, and don't be so crazy with the prices. Be reasonable. And that's what I'm doing. You know, my t-shirts are $25 to $30 most. Long sleeve maybe $35. You know what I'm saying? Hoodies is less than $150, $60. I'm not killing nobody. It's affordable for everybody, and I'm doing it. It's nobody else controlling it.
Yeah. What's your opinion on streaming? Like, have you know the artifacts been able to capitalize on streaming?
Now the streaming thing, I don't have no account for the Spotify account. Everything music wise that comes out on there be on. Like I tell people, like, you know, when I put records out, they come out on labels. So if me and Sadat album come out on a label called Vinyl Digital in Germany, they're putting it up on Spotify, and all the numbers get tallied. I can't say that I've ever put up my one song on to see how the effect would be, because I'm still trying to do this thing as a real, like I tell people when we make these, they really coming out. Like they really coming out as a release to the world and not just to one thing. So once I start probably doing something like that, I probably have a better answer for you. But I don't indulge in it on my own, or I say music. I say like I have a phone, a number, song on my phone, and I just take it out of my playlist, put it up on there, and then see what happens. I've seen what happens when it's process, and I can see the numbers in my breakdown of where the shit's selling and where it's going. And with streaming though, I say it helps a person like me more because it's it shows me where my fan base is at.
Nice.
And it showed me how how I can really do on my own.
Yeah, L, you on your marketing shit hard. I like that.
Yeah, man. I'm really trying to do this in a way where it's like a blueprint for a lot of cats that that's not my age yet. To understand like these are the things you have to do as an artist my age, because there's a lot of people missing out on that inside money, and people only concerned with doing the show and the physical. There's digital money out there that you can get from your music that you don't even use no more. It's all about that. It's all about that licensing.
Good point.
It's all about that soundtrack money and trying to use no samples to get on these commercials. There's a lot of things I figured out now that I wasn't doing before. Where it's like, say, we just did something with Thrasher Magazine. They like music that we done in the past. Or you want Brick City Kid or some other shit on that skate thing right there. Be my guest. Let's work it out. Work it out.
Sure. Yeah, Rob.
Nah, I was gonna say plug your Mexican dude because I want some T-shirts made.
Hey, look. You get at me. I'm gonna give you my info on here before we get out of here.
Okay.
He's in Riverside, California. My man, clean as hell. And I finally made it to the shop. If you need somebody to do some good work for you, I recommend him. Not just he's my friend, but he's on point with the work and he's fast too.
Yeah.
And he'll tell you the truth. He'll give him a 2-week window. He'll take care of you.
That's what I'm talking about. Somebody can do business with.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, man, Elder Sensei, we definitely appreciate you coming through. Can you give people the information if people that's trying to book you for shows or any of you purchase merch and everything else?
Everybody, you can hit me on my Instagram. That's where I do all my work. Sensei from NJ, SENSEI from New Jersey. Hit me up on there for all things. I'm on Facebook, but yeah, you can catch me on Instagram. Sensei from NJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say we appreciate you pulling up and joining us, having this conversation with us tonight.
I appreciate y'all for having me on. Look, we on point too. I got 4% left.
A real hip hop conversation, yo. On that note, we're gonna let you go. Salute, brother. Checking on you.
I appreciate y'all again. Thank you. And like I said, I'm gonna be in touch with all y'all on here. I'm touching the screen, so I see y'all. And I'll
hit you in your DM. I'm at the DM right now.